Hello, Science Alliance. Hello, I am Lara. This is Theatre of Science. We've been learning about woodlands for 4 weeks. This is the 5th lesson, but it doesn't matter if you haven't seen any of the other lessons because we're doing soil and you don't need to know anything to join in with this one. I'm very excited about this actually. I've absolutely nerded out hard over soil. So there are free printouts available from my website. You don't need those either. You just don't need them. Don't worry about it. Just stay. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. If you've got an empty jar, we need to crack on with the activity straight away because we're going to fill a jar with soil, fill it with water, give it a really good stir, and then just leave it. And at the end of the lesson, we'll come back to it and hopefully discover interesting things. So if you brought some soil with you, first thing you need to do is just scrunch it up into little bits, okay? We don't want any big bits, partly so that the water in our jar makes the soil really smooth, and partly because, you know, if you find like a slug or a spider, you can rescue it and not put it in a little whirlpool. If you really don't like getting your hands dirty, that's totally fine. Watch me. That's what I'm here for. So I want you to actually put, I fill the jar about 3/4 full, all right? And then top up the rest with water. We need about a tablespoon of soil and a little drop of water spare for the next thing that we're going to do. So while we're doing this, I need to really quickly, I've kind of got to talk about the rock cycle. So we've done a whole module of lessons on the rock cycle, which is on my website with the printouts. You can watch it. And I learned something amazing during the rock cycle that I need to pass on to you now that we're talking about soil. So, well, let's get this in the jar. We need to get this done. I'll pull you down here because it's just better telly if you can see what I'm doing, isn't it? Here we go. Oh, wait, that's just my office. Here we are. Okay, so yeah, about give it a good scrunch and a good mix, and then about 3/4 full, and give it a stir. We have done this. Maybe we did it we've done a whole Lego show about soil, but it was absolutely ages ago. So some of you will have done this with me, and some of you won't. Right, now don't just start pouring water into soil above your computer. Let's be sensible about this. There we go. Oh, can you hear that? And can you see that? So on Facebook yesterday, a lot of people were answering this starter question I gave you. Which of these are not found in soil? Air, minerals, dead plants, bacteria, water and worms. A lot of people were saying that air is not found in soil, but hopefully you've just seen some evidence there that there definitely is air in soil. I mean, you could be saying, well, Lara, yeah, there is in that soil because you've just like scrunched it up and pulled a load of air into it. But there's loads of animals that do that as well. So soil definitely has air in it. God, I tell you, the smell of soil, the sound of soil, I'm just absolutely loving soil. I can't believe I've never paid any hard attention to soil before. So you need to mix that up so it's a little kind of soil smoothie. There we go. And then put it to one side and then just forget about it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't wobble it. And we'll come back to that at the end of the lesson. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, we can actually do that straight away as well. I want you to put about a tablespoon of soil in your hand if you want to. If you don't like getting dirty, you don't have to. But if you want to, you can. Put a blob of soil in your hand and add a little drop of water. If you've still got your tablespoon and some water, put a tablespoon or 2 in there and squidge it up and just see if you can get a ball, like a ball of Play-Doh. While I very quickly, with apologies to any geographers or geologists in the room, discuss the rock cycle. So we did a whole module about it. We did loads and loads of lessons on the rock cycle. And what we learned was that there's rocks, right? Like really big rocks, really high up. They're big. And the rain rains on them and the wind blows against them and they freeze and they thaw out and they freeze and they thaw out and they freeze and they thaw out. And basically all of this stuff is called weathering, and it breaks them down into little bits. So the rock kind of cracks and breaks off. And that's really all we're going to say today. You end up with different sized bits of rock. You end up with bits that are kind of 2 millimeters big. So you can see 2 millimeters, right? Like 1/5 of a centimeter. You end up with bits that are smaller than that, and you end up with bits that are really small, and they've got different names. And this is what I learned in my rock cycle lesson that absolutely thrilled me. I love it when stuff that you've kind of known about for ages suddenly makes sense. So the different grains are called different things. The one in the middle, you probably haven't heard of it, but the two words for the biggest bit and the smallest bit, we use them all the time. I just never really knew that I was using geography words. So the one in the middle is called silt. You might have heard of that, you might have not, but silt is just the name for little particles of rock that are between 0.05 and 0.002 millimeters. So the biggest one that we're talking about, a little grain of rock that's about 2 millimeters big, begins with a S. And the tiny little grain of rock that's less than 0.002 millimeters big begins with a K. What do you think? Come on. So the biggest one, the S one, is sand. Right? That's all that sand is. So when you go to the beach and you pick up a handful of sand and you notice that actually it's loads and loads of tiny little different coloured bits all together, that's because sand is just the name for the particle that is just the correct size. So it's no one thing is sand, it's just a bit of rock, any kind of rock that happens to be that big. How good is that? That's why all the sand is there on the beach, because it's washed small enough to get washed down through the river. It's not quite small enough to get washed into the sea. So it's just, anyway, I'm doing my rock cycle lesson. We need to go back because this is the soil lesson. And the C word is clay. Yeah, clay, which makes sense, doesn't it? If you've ever held clay, it's sort of, the particles are so small that it just kind of feels like you've made Play-Doh. So on that note, let's get your soil if you've got some, or my soil if you haven't got any. And let's have a look at what kind of soil this is, because apparently there are loads of different tests you can do. So you scrunch up the soil in your hand, take out any big bits of rock and any bits of organic matter, like stuff that has been alive but is now dead, like bits of leaf or root or whatever. And then you put a bit of, I'm cheating, I'm trying to find nice bits of soil. You put a drop of water in your hand and just give it a squeeze. I think the first time I did this on Facebook, I didn't put enough water in. You're supposed to, oh yeah, that's good. You're supposed to add enough water that you can form a little ball like that, okay? A soil ball. If you can't form a ball, try adding a drop more water. If it's too sloppy, try adding a little bit more soil. If you can't at all, however hard you try, get your soil to form a ball, then it's sand. According to the internet, I mean, I'm sure that you can make sandcastles, can't you, and squidge it into shapes, but maybe you can't squidge sand into a proper ball shape. Try next time you're on a beach. So if you can't do that, it'll be sand. If you've got a ball like this, it's either silt or clay, or more likely something in between, like it could be sandy clay or sandy silt. Loam is the word for kind of general soil that isn't too much of one or the other. So there are other things you can do now to test further. You could try and roll it into a sausage. And if you can't roll it into a sausage at all, then again, you've got very, very sandy soil, which is mixed up with some clay and silt. If you can roll it into a nice big long sausage, then there are other things you could do as well. I didn't know that these little lines in your fingers are called rills, apparently, but we need our finger rills to test for the next bit. If you really just put a little bit on your hand and really wet it, and sort of rub it around in your hand. Have a feel and have a look. What does it feel like? If it feels kind of flaky or floury, then you've got silt. If it feels really gritty, then again, you've got quite a bit of sand. I can't really tell. The best thing to do, I suppose, would be to get loads of different types of soil, because then you'd be able to feel the difference. I don't think this is flaky. I think it's quite gritty. It feels like something that you get from Lush in a little tub. I think that's sandy. Anyway, if you scrape it off, if it stays in your finger rills, then you've got silt. That's one of the ways you can tell you've got silt, is if it stays in your finger rills. This is me remembering that even though this is the third time I've taught this lesson this week, I still haven't bothered to bring a cloth with me, so I'm not sure what happens next. But anyway, quite silty, I would say. And if it doesn't stay in your rills, and if it doesn't feel flaky, then you've probably got clay. And clay as well would feel very, very much like a kind of plasticine or Play-Doh if you can really mould it really well. So I think this is quite clay-like soil anyway. Maybe I've got a bit of everything. Anyway, should we move on and learn about soil? All right. What happens now? I tidied up my office, which is magnificent. But it does mean that I don't have any, I've got a bit of paper here. Let's move on. Because like I say, I have proper nerded out about soil today. And I want to tell you everything. And it is part of a Woodlands module, isn't it? So we need to start talking about Woodlands as well. We're not going to worry about these numbers because this isn't theatre of geography. But we'll say that sand is the biggest. And we'll say that clay is the smallest, okay? And we'll say that silt is the one in the middle. That's quite enough for our needs. If you've got my printout from my website, or you'd have to print it out, but you could just click on it and it'll show you all this stuff if you really want to get into how to identify what your soil looks like. But we will move on. So the big thing about this, the reason this is important, one of the reasons is how water behaves when it hits these different soils. I love this because this just makes sense. Sand, big particles, right? Lots of gaps between the particles. So water drains really easily through sand. Water hits sand and just goes all the way through these little gaps. Kind of like how your keys, if you're an adult or you've got keys, always end up right in the bottom of your bag. You got like your jumper, your book, and then the keys just get in between the gaps. You know, if you had a bag full of rice, your keys would probably sit on the top. And that's what happens with clay soil. Is this making sense? So clay particles are teeny tiny, so they're very close together, so there's hardly any gaps in the clay. So just like if your bag was full of rice, your keys would sit on top. If you've got clay soil, when water falls on the clay, it tends to sit on top. Clay soil is not very good for flooding, because it can cause the water to just run off. And silt. Oh, silt is the lovely one in the middle, where the gaps are quite big, so the water flows through it, you don't get flooding, but also all the water doesn't escape, so it kind of holds the moisture. There you go, look, the person who did this lovely diagram has put a little arrow coming out of the silt saying, fertile, stuff grows well there. So sand, large pores, water drains through too quickly really for that little plant. Clay, got lots of nutrients in it, but the water tends to sit on top and can't get in. So for plants, the silt is kind of ideal. I mean, it very much depends on the plant. Right, I want to get into the soil layers because this is actually on, if you ever want to do a GCSE in geography, this is actually GCSE geography we're doing right now. There are different layers of soil. I don't even really know this, but it makes sense. Soil comes in layers, and each layer is called a horizon. And overall, you would say that all these different horizons make up the soil profile. I know, geography words. So there's lots of different horizons, layers, and they've got different letters attached to them, which is how geographers talk about them. And some of them get a bit tricksy, but I thought we'll start with the 4 that make sense. The 4 soil layers, soil horizons that you find is kind of typical soil, right? Like in a grassland or a park, the soil is probably going to have these 4 layers, and they are beautifully labelled A, B, C, and D. So I'm not going to tell you about them. I'm just going to show you their names, show you them on a diagram, show you a description, and see if you can match them all up. Again, if you've got the printout, you can do this on the printout. If not, well, you could sketch it if you wanted to, or you could just think about it. There's not that much here. So I've got the names topsoil, parent material, bedrock, and subsoil. These are the soil layers, the soil horizons, A, B, C, and D. A at the top, B, D at the bottom. And here are the descriptions. Soil that's breaking down, rock that's breaking down and makes the soil what it is. Not a soil layer. Sand, silt, clay, some organic stuff. Drains well, has minerals in it from the soil above. So for example, if you think that topsoil is the name of this 3rd layer, you would draw a line from topsoil to C. And if you thought that the description of that layer was not a soil layer, then you draw a line like that. See, so if you've got the printout, just draw some lines. If you haven't got the printout, sorry. But you could sketch it if you like and label it. I mean, all this information's on the internet. This is just for you to learn, isn't it? You don't have to make beautiful notes as far as I'm concerned. Oh yeah, and if you've done that, if you're thinking, Lara, this is far too easy. Okay, have some other juicy little layers. Have this one, the organic layer of dead stuff. And this one as well, the leaf litter. Where would you put those on this diagram if you want to make things a little bit more complicated? Lots of people have just jumped on live, that's nice. If you're just joining us, what we've done is we've put a load of soil in a jar and added some water and stirred it up. So we've made like a soil smoothie basically. Literally just fill a jar kind of half full with soil, add water, give it a really big stir, and then just let it sit. And we've talked about the fact that there are different little particles of rock, and the biggest one is sand and the smallest one is clay, and they behave in different ways. And that's it, really. How you doing? Should I go through it? Don't want to rush you. Don't want you to get bored. You can always like and subscribe if you're bored. Or if you've got a Facebook account, then on my Facebook page at the moment, at the top of my Facebook page is a post which says, you can comment here if you're watching on YouTube, because there's no comments on YouTube. But at the end of the lesson, I will go over to my Facebook page and answer any questions, queries, complaints, and just say hello. So if you haven't got a Facebook account, well done you. If you have got a Facebook account, you can jump over there and say hi. Right, should we go through it? So, the top one, that was nice, wasn't it? Oh, look, here's Theatre of Science mascot Wormy. She's so excited about this lesson. Can worms squee? I want to squee. Squee! So, the topsoil is at the top. Well done, geographers. That's nice, isn't it? So that's true. The proper term for the topsoil is layer A. If you say soil horizon A, then all geographers will go, oh yes, the topsoil. And a description of the topsoil is, well, it's probably the stuff that you've just been handling. If you've got some soil, it will be topsoil. The first few centimetres of soil, sand, silt, clay, some organic stuff like some bits of dead leaf and things. The next layer is the subsoil, and that drains well and has got some minerals in it from the soil above. So rain falls on the topsoil, and then some minerals flow down from the topsoil to the next layer of the subsoil. There you go. The parent material, that's my favourite one. What a great name for a soil horizon. And that is rock that is breaking down, and that is very much responsible for making this soil at the top what it is. So the very bottom is the bedrock, which you might have heard of, which is not a soil layer. It's the stuff that all the soil is sitting on. So it makes sense, right? You've got bedrock, which could be any kind of rock, and then that rock starts to, when it gets weathered, it starts to erode, break up into lots of different pieces. And so you get plants growing, presumably, like among the rock, and then that dies. And all these soil layers just build up. So the bedrock and the parent material here has a massive impact on what the soil is like above. So let's talk, this is supposed to be a woodlands lesson. So let's talk about woodland soil. Broadleaf woodlands, you remember we've talked about the difference between broadleaf trees and conifer trees. Broadleaf trees, they've got broad leaves, they've got big leaves. Conifer trees have these little pine needles, right? So a broadleaf tree is probably what you think of when you think of a tree. It's just, you know, your oak tree, your conker tree, the trees with leaves, like not the Christmas trees. You get it. So in these broadleaf forests where the broadleaf trees grow, the soil is neutral or slightly acidic. Only slightly acidic, says Wormy. She's trying to help you because there's a quiz at the end. And the soil in broadleaf woodlands is called brown earth because it is brown. And it's got some cool extras. It's got these 4 layers, these 4 horizons that we talked about, but it's also got some cool little extra bits. So let's quickly talk about that. So in your broadleaf tree forests, most broadleaf trees drop their leaves, don't we? We've discussed this. So the leaves fall onto the ground, and that is the leaf litter. And again, geographers will call this layer L, which is nice, L for leaf litter. And this is the layer, it's just the stuff that you can pick up, really, on the forest floor. So bits of twig, snail shell, leaves, that's your leaf litter layer. And the layer underneath that is the organic layer, and that is basically the leaf litter that is dying. So decaying dead leaves, like poo, animals, worms that have eaten, microbes that have eaten the leaves and then pooed it out again. Oh yeah, so worms are amazing. Worms live in broadleaf forest soil. Worms don't like it too acidic, but broadleaf soil is neutral or a little bit acidic. So the worms love it in there. And there are different kinds of worms. Some of them move side to side and some of them move up and down, but they are amazing for the soil. So when we poured water into our jar, if you heard your jar kind of making this gorgeous bubbly noise, that was air coming out of the soil, because worms are constantly pulling air into the soil. They drag leaves down from the surface down into their tunnels, which brings loads of air and nutrients into the soil. And it also, I drew black lines across this little picture here to try and help you, but actually the layers in a broadleaf woodland, the soil layers, the soil horizons, apparently are really mixed up because of worms just doing their thing constantly. So we better take these lines away. You ready? Pew, special effects. So yeah, that layer is the topsoil where the worms live. That is your sand, your silt, your tiny little particles of clay, some organic stuff. The subsoil is just underneath that, which has some minerals in it which have drained from the soil above. And then you've got the parent material, the rock that is breaking down. And then you've got the bedrock right on the bottom, which is not a soil layer. This is one of these facts that I kind of know, but it blows my mind every time. If you're living in the UK like me, 200 million years ago, a lot of the British Isles were hot and dry desert. And then the sand particles in that hot, dry desert turned into rock. So if you're ever on a beach, I think I got this from Whitby, and you find this like red sandstone, you can kind of see the layers in it, right? That is from a sandy desert that used to be where I live now. And then 200 million years ago, that was just sand blown around on a desert and dinosaur times. And then it gradually, for reasons which we talk about in the rock cycle lessons, turned into rock. And now is the bedrock for a lot of the UK. So this is what our parent material is, this kind of rock that is breaking up. Not all of the UK, but a lot of it. Some of it is older, some of it is slightly newer. But yeah, apparently one of the reasons why the earth around me is reddish brown is because it is sitting on bedrock made from 200 million year old desert sand. Okay, this picture is Las Vegas, but still, right? It's a cool fact. So years and years and years of leaves and dead trees falling in deciduous woodland have built up incredibly nutritious soil. And this is where I learned something I didn't know, which again kind of excited me in a sad way. You've probably heard people saying stuff about people chopping down woodlands to put farmland, right? There's loads of people on the planet now, so we need loads of food, and you keep hearing this thing about chopping down woodlands for crops to grow or for farms. And I always sort of thought, oh, I guess it's just like the woods were in the way, like they just needed more space, so they cut down the woods to grow the crops. It maybe is a bit of that, but it's also, here we go, here's a big brown field. It's also the reason you cut down broadleaf forests for farmland is because the soil underneath it is broadleaf soil. So it's incredibly nutritious because it's had thousands and thousands of years of broadleaf trees shedding their bits and dying on it and building up all those nutrients. I know. So it's kind of sad, but also I was very happy with that fact. Right. So we need to talk about conifer woodlands, because conifer woodlands, your pine trees, your Scots pines or whatever, grow where soil is more acidic. Here is Wormy saying, unsubscribe from that. You don't get many worms where pine trees, conifer trees grow, because they just love to grow in really acidic soil and the worms don't like it. I could only find a photo of this person gazing kind of in a meaningful way at the floor, but you can picture it, right? Conifer needles don't decay very easily. So in a conifer tree forest, the needles just build up and up and up and up. You can get these layers like 20 centimetres thick. I'm going to my Tupperware now. I'm going to my Tupperware and grabbing my hand lens because I found something out that I want to show you. So here's another photo. Let's cover them up with a mushroom. Hopefully you can picture it. Conifer woodlands, they've just got a totally different feel, and part of it is the feel underneath your feet of all these needles which are not decaying. Now when I started reading about conifer forests, I was reading about I was going to say topsoil, it's not, is it? It's the organic material, the leaf litter. It contains a lot of mites and springtails, so they don't have a lot of worms in because of all the acidity of the soil, but they contain a lot. Now I know what a mite is. I could sort of picture a little mite. I had no idea what a springtail is, and apparently this is a springtail. Now, apparently springtails confused scientists for ages. What sort of animal does that remind you of? What's the first animal you think of now that I've showed you that picture of a springtail? Don't think too hard about it. Just say an animal that it reminds you of. Apparently, for ages, scientists thought that these were insects. And then they discovered that they weren't insects. They were in a different category of animal. And I thought, the science lights would have been able to tell you that in about 3 seconds. Does it remind you of a woodlouse? Apparently, they are in the same sort of category as woodlice. They are arthropods, like crustaceans. And apparently, the internet tells me, springtails have a jumping organ under their bodies, basically like kind of like a tight elastic band, and when they're threatened, it twangs them to safety. They are very small. Nature Spot website, which I love, says they're very small, up to 6 millimeters, so over half centimetre, so you can see them, but very abundant, with up to 100,000 reputed to live in each cubic metre of topsoil. And so they live in the soil, the leaf litter of conifer woodlands, where they eat dead vegetation, they eat a lot of microbes. Now this bit, they are very abundant, with up to 100,000 reputed to live in each cubic. I've put Nature Spot, just lying to us there. I was like, these things don't exist. I've never seen a springtail in my life. I'd remember a creature just big enough that you can see it, springing around. I've been on this planet 42 years. I grew up on a farm. Springtails don't exist. I'd have come across them by now. Anyway, one of the reasons I was late to this lesson is because I was running outside my house barefoot, finding the bit of my street that has conifer trees on it, like pine trees, collecting some soil from underneath the pine tree, because we'll just do it, shall we? Once and for all, we'll have a look at this. I mean, it's not conifer woodland soil, but, you know, it was underneath a conifer tree, so I thought that'll do. It's got plenty of sort of pine needle bits in it. Let's have a look at this soil, see if we can see a springtail. Spoiler, we won't, because they don't exist. We better have a look. So, how are we going to do this? The first lesson I taught of this week on Facebook, we didn't find anything. And yesterday when I taught this lesson on Facebook, we actually did find something, but me being a trained physics teacher and not being terribly adept with a hand lens, we almost immediately lost it again. I don't think it was a springtail. Can't see anything, can you? Should we hand lens this? Let's go. Is that better? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll put it underneath the light. Yeah, let's do this properly. Let's give ourselves a fighting chance. And if I move the plate, maybe they'll start springing as well. Hmm. 100,000 springtails per cubic metre of soil. Seriously. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm looking for the Loch Ness Monster. I feel like a mug. They don't exist. Well, you can try it yourself, can't you? I must say, I won't, don't freak out, but I could do this all day. I find this, when you've got a little mission, you know, I love it. Well, I mean, we haven't found any worms, so does that prove our theory? I don't know. Maybe we should just, maybe if we just pan right out and just have a look, let's just look with our eyes. Is there anything moving there at all? No. Should we try a bit more? There's loads of hair in this, isn't there? I'm kind of freaking out. There is a hairdresser that's quite near where I got this soil. That's gross. Is that just other people's hair? You can see that soil's quite a thing! Was that a thing? Or was that just soil moving? Did you see that? Yeah, what's that? Is that just soil moving? We'd better carry on, hadn't we? We'd better crack on. We'd better learn some stuff, but she says, zooming in harder. No, they don't exist. I'm telling you, the springtail, folks, the mythical creature. Come on, let's learn a little bit more about conifer woodlands, because I've got a slightly different quiz, a quiz that I've never done before on Theatre of Science, and I want to tell you about it. Oh yeah, so beneath the needles, maybe that's what this person's thinking about. Underneath the needles, the soil in conifer woodlands has got something else going on, which really pleased me. Have a look at this picture. Ignore the fact that there's no trees here. This is just the best picture that I could find. But this is a good example of the soil layers that you find underneath the conifer forest. Just say out loud the first things that you notice. Does anything strike you about these soil layers? What's anything jumping out? Anything springing out? What straight away you're like, huh, that's not what I was expecting. So in conifer woodlands, you've got the organic layer at the top, O. You've got A, the topsoil. You've got B, the subsoil. And then in the middle, you've got the mystery E layer. I know. Any idea why it's white and the layer below is red? You've got topsoil, which is brown. The mystery E layer, which is white. And then the layer underneath it is red. Could you tell me why? If I gave you a little clue, if I said that soil has iron particles in it, and iron can go rusty. It's hard, this. I have given you, I've given you enough information to be able to answer this, but it is really difficult. It's one of those questions where I kind of wanted to make it into a puzzle, but honestly, I'm not sure I would have got it right. We talked about sound and drainage. So what's happening is, can I show you my my awesome PowerPoint special effects to help you out? A lot of conifer soil has quartz sand grains in it. So I said, if you've ever picked up a handful of soil and you've noticed a handful of sand, and you've noticed that the sand is actually just tiny little particles that are all different colours. You know, you've got your white bits, your see-through bits, the red bits, the black bits. Well, the see-through bits will be, generally speaking, quartz. This mineral quartz. Here's a massive bit that I get to show you. So a lot of conifer soil has got these quite big, like 2 millimetre, quite big particles of sand, you know, the biggest particle that we've talked about today, of quartz. So what happens is, PowerPoint special effects, the rain rains on the soil, and the iron particles from this layer down here get washed out. So this bit ends up red. I've put rusty. It's not technically rust. It's different kinds of iron oxides down here, iron reacting with oxygen. And up here, what gets left are the white see-through quartz particles. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I was so happy with that. It's got a really cool name. It's got podzol. If you play Minecraft, you might know about podzol. It's a Russian word, apparently, meaning something like after ash or below ash or something, because Russian peasants, when they were ploughing up the fields, would find the soil was underneath this, what they thought was like a layer of ash. That's why it's called podzol. And yeah, it's got very, very clean layers. Hence this beautiful picture here. Because the soil is so acidic, there's no worms to mess it up. They're not pulling the layers up and down. So yeah, that's why the layers are so beautiful and clean cut. So that starter question when I said to you, which of these are not found in soil? Air is definitely found in soil. Dead plants, absolutely, that's kind of what soil is. Water obviously gets into soil. Yeah, there's loads of minerals like iron in soil. Soil is teeming with bacteria. You could have said it was a trick question because all of these things are found in soil. Or if you want to really nerd out about soil, you could say, well, Lara, is it brown earth like in a broadleaf woodland, or is it podzol like in a conifer woodland? Because if it's the soil of a conifer woodland, it'll be maybe too acidic to have worms in it. So yeah, whatever you said, basically you were right on that one. Okay, so final fact I think I've got for you. Pine trees, like conifer trees, like growing in this very well-draining acidic soil, but crops don't. It doesn't really hold enough moisture and it's very acidic. So it's not very good for farmland, isn't conifer tree soil. It tends to get used for farm animals. Right, that's the last thing I wanted to tell you. So let's go back to our jars and check our jars. And then we'll do, like I say, a little quiz that we haven't done before on Theatre of Science. I'm quite happy with it. So if you go to your jar, I'll come this way so that You can see what you've hopefully got now is layers in your jar. If you gave it a really good stir, you could see some bits falling down. So actually what you've got in your jar is the organic stuff on the top. So any like little bits of leaf or root will be floating on the top there. And then you've got your water. And then, I don't know if you can just about see it. Maybe if I turn it around so that it's near the light. Sorry. Any clay particles, the very smallest particles, will be sitting on the top. So apparently this is a really good activity to do to check your soil profile, to find out what your soil is like. Yeah, can you see? I've just got a very thin little kind of pale layer there. So that would be my clay particles. Underneath that would be silt, the next largest particle. And underneath that is sand. And then right at the bottom, you've got any kind of pebbles and rocks. So yeah, actually, there's a sort of really clear line there, isn't there? So that would be my sand at the bottom, and that's my tiny little line of clay. Yeah, and my organic stuff. So there you go. Hopefully you know what kind of soil you've got now. Okay, let's do the quiz. Well, maybe I should do my ad first, and then we do the quiz. Yeah, I'll keep you hanging just ever so slightly longer. So how this works is, quick advert, because if I don't do my advert, I don't earn any money, and if I don't earn any money, I'd have to go and work in a school, and that would be fine, but not as good as this. So how this job works is, right, if you happen to be new, everything that I do is free. This is literally a business model that I invented. I should shout about that more. I started streaming free lessons during lockdown. People liked them. People didn't want me to stop. There's this website called Coffee, which a lot of podcasters use. It's where sort of creative people say, can you fund my work? So I started a page on Coffee saying, well, if you really like these lessons, you could send me £5 a month. And that is enough, it turns out, because there's a lot of people watching. You all send me £5 a month. Hopefully that's not too much for you, for what you get. All the lessons are free. The printouts for the lessons are free. They're all stored on my website for watching on catch up. I'm trained to teach physics, actually, so I also stream free IGCSE physics lessons. And I love showing off and chatting, so I also stream a free Lego story show, which doesn't have printouts. It's a chat and an activity and a little story with Lego. It's on at 10:30 on YouTube today, and it's about bog people, if you want to come to that. But anyway, hopefully £5 a month from you isn't that much for what I give. And it's all adding up to a wage for me. So it's working really well. And I'll even send you some nice things to say thank you. So if you go to my About section, I don't know why I felt the need to write that on the board. You're on YouTube at the moment. So if you go to my About section, you will find a link to this Coffee page. And you can go and send me £5 a month. Yeah, I've got an advert here that I made out of Lego that I haven't written a script for yet. So it's a little bit shonky. But shall I show you it? Maybe I'll show you it at the end. I'll show it at the end. Let's do the quiz. I've explained how it works. So if you can afford £5 a month, please do support me. I will send you really nice things. I'll send you okay, I better tell you. There's just an offer on at the moment. Usually, if you sign up to support me, you get a past issue of Theatre of Science magazine, which I write, and some rainbow glasses and an information sheet. And if you sign up with £6 a month, you get an extra magazine. But at the moment, if you sign up with £6 a month, you're getting 2 extra magazines. Because I've got this massive Weeds issue, which has a couple of slight misprints in it. So I don't really feel like I can post it out as part of the welcome pack. So if you send me £6 a month now on Coffee, you get rainbow glasses, sheet about how they work, and 3 past magazines for £6. And then, the idea is that your payment comes out every month and it funds the lessons. Right, quiz time. So quite often at the end of a Theatre of Science lesson, I give you some questions and I say, find the right answer and find the letter that goes with the right answer. And then if you put all your letters together, you get a mystery word. But we're going to do something different this time. I was getting bored of that. We do that all the time. So I want you to find the true statements and draw the bit of the ice cream that matches the true statement, okay? And then by the end of the quiz, it's only 4 questions, you will have an ice cream. And if it looks like mine, that means you got all the questions right. So here we go. You'll get it if we do it. So there's 3 statements here. Find the true statement and draw the thing that goes with the true statement, okay? So here are your 3 statements. Out of clay, silt and sand, clay is the biggest. If you think that's true, that clay particles are the biggest, your ice cream is coming in a tub, so sketch a little tub. Out of clay, silt and sand, silt is the biggest, if you think that is true. Sketch yourself a little bowl, your ice cream's in a bowl. Out of clay, silt and sand, sand is the biggest. If you think that sand is the biggest particle, sketch yourself a little cone. Have you done it? Done a quick sketch? So you've got 3 particles here. 3 particles, just little bits of rock. They're all found in soil. One of them's quite big, one of them's very small, one of them's in the middle. Which one's the biggest one? If it's clay, draw a tub. If it's silt, draw a bowl. If it's sand, draw a cone. Okay, should we move on? I'm moving on. Don't forget there's that post on my Facebook page if you want to go and comment, and I'll have a little chat in a minute. Next question. Which of these statements is true? Water drains well through clay. Water drains well through sand. Water can't drain through sand. Which of those is a true statement? If you think that water drains well through clay, your ice cream's got 1 scoop. If you think water drains well through sand, your ice cream's got 3 scoops. If you think water cannot drain through sand, then your ice cream has 2 scoops. Okay, do you know how many scoops you're drawing? Have you done it? Have you done it? Can I move on? I want to move on. I'll tell you what, I'll keep myself busy by staring at this soil looking for springtails. Next time I'm in a conifer woodland, I'll do a live stream and we'll try again. Okay, next one. Broadleaf woodlands have neutral or slightly acidic soil. If you think that's true, put some sauce and sprinkles on your ice cream. Broadleaf woodlands always have neutral soil. If you think that's true, just draw the sauce. Broadleaf woodlands have very acidic soil. If you think that's true, draw the sprinkles. So one of those is true. If broadleaf woodlands have very acidic soil, draw sprinkles. If broadleaf woodlands have neutral soil, draw sauce. If broadleaf woodlands have neutral or slightly acidic soil, draw sauce and sprinkles. Can't even take a mite at this stage. There aren't even any mites. Not a single living thing. Anyway, next one, last question. Subsoil, topsoil, bedrock. Which of these boxes shows soil horizons in the right order? Which of these boxes shows soil horizons in the right order? If you think that subsoil is on the top and then topsoil is slightly lower down and bedrock is slightly lower down, put a cherry on your ice cream. If you think leaf litter is on the top and then topsoil and then parent material is lower down, put a flake. And if you think there's an organic layer and then under that topsoil and then further under that leaf litter, then draw a wafer. You got it? So which of those is showing, I've missed some out obviously, but if you think that from the top to the bottom it goes subsoil, topsoil, bedrock, draw cherry. If you think it goes leaf litter, topsoil, parent material, draw a flake. And if you think it goes organic layer, topsoil, leaf litter, then draw a wafer. All right, should we go through the answers and see what kind of ice cream you've got? So the first one, it is sand that is the biggest particle. The smallest is clay and the one in the middle is silt. So hopefully you drew an ice cream cone. So you should have a cone like that. But how many scoops? Well, here's your sand here. This is what this diagram is showing. Sand are the really big particles that water drains really well through. Clay are the really small particles that the water can't get through very well. So the answer was 3 scoops. Water drains well through sand. It doesn't drain very well through clay in the same way that your keys would just sit on top of your bag if for some reason you filled your bag with rice. And water can drain through sand, so it's not 2 scoops either. It's 3 scoops, like that. Broadleaf woodlands don't have very acidic soil. If they did, you wouldn't get all the lovely worms in the broadleaf soils and they wouldn't be as nutritious. Broadleaf woodlands, they can have neutral soil, but not always. Sometimes they've got slightly acidic soil. So, I mean, your clue, I suppose, was I wanted the ice cream to look really good. So the answer was you should have put sauce and sprinkles on. And finally, the correct layer, well, the topsoil comes on top of the subsoil, so it's not a cherry, sadly. The leaf litter goes on the top, obviously, because the leaves are falling from the sky. So the correct one was you get your leaf litter, and then you get your topsoil, and then further underneath that, you get the parent material. So your ice cream should have looked like this. A cone with 3 scoops, sprinkles and sauce, and then a flake in that. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Right, I'm going to flip you back round and we'll do some comments, shall we? Just before I have to go and set up my Lego store share. Okay, let's go over to Facebook and see who has said hello. I don't know why I'm singing this. It's like my holding music. Going over to Facebook. It's quite a good tune, actually. I'm going over to Facebook to see your comments. Yeah, thank you for supporting me. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-bum. All right, Maths Web Tutor, popping up on my Facebook feed. Sorry, we don't want you at the moment, even though you're wonderful. Right, let's have a look. Yay, comments! Excellent. Oh, Edmund's here. Right, let's put it on. Oh, Edmund's always good value. Edmund doesn't just say, hi, I like the lesson. Edmund's always got comments, additional information. Here we go. Oh, Edmund, I did know this. Right, Edmund says, did you know that in France there are earthworms that glow in the dark? Apparently it took French people a long time to notice because they were usually gardening during the daytime, but then someone's dog was digging in the garden one night and the owner noticed the worms were glowing. Edmund? Wait, Edmund. Oh no, he's fallen over. Edmund! This is Lumiere, that Olivia made for me. I don't think Olivia even comes to the lessons. Olivia's probably like 25 by now. But yeah, in ye olden days of Theatre of Science, we did a Lego story show about worms. And I mentioned this fact, and Olivia sent me a Fimo glow-in-the-dark earthworm from France, Edmund. And he's called Lumiere. That's why he's wearing a little beret, because he's French. Yeah, how lovely that you would mention that. We don't talk about Lumiere enough. Lumiere is one of the Theatre of Science mascots. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Let's put you there, mate. So you can prop yourself up. Can you see him? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello, Simon. My favourite thing to do is squelch and squelch in mud. Perfect for this lesson for you. I also didn't know that trees dropping their leaves is called litter. Oh yeah, I've never actually thought about that. I know the phrase leaf litter, but I just have said it for years and I've never thought about the fact that it's like it's a bit of a harsh name, isn't it? Like they're littering. They're not littering. Mark and Talitha haven't woken up yet after a late night boating. A late night boating? The mind boggles. Well, Simon, I'm glad you're here. You can buy What? You can buy springtails to put in a cage with pet rodents. They eat poo. That is... Like, I'm trying in my head to put all that information together. You can buy springtails to put in a cage. I love that you haven't said like to feed your pet rodents. Just, yeah, you can just buy them, put in a cage. Are they just like holding hands like to make bunting? No. And they eat poo. They eat the poo. Oh, I see. No, right, yeah, they don't. They're not food for the rodents. You put them in the cage and they eat the rodent poo. That's amazing. Obviously it's a lie because springtails don't exist. We all know that. We've proved it with science. But still, that's interesting. Hello, Ivy. Our soil seems more sandy, but it made a ball slightly. I knew the bedrock layer because Minecraft. I wonder if geographers love Minecraft because it's teaching children about their subject, or whether they hate it because it's like teaching you slightly wrong. It doesn't really care, does it? Like someone said yesterday, pod soil isn't red on Minecraft. It's like, well, sorry about that. But I'm going to trust geography. Your soil did make a ball. That's a great ball. Hello. Oh, hello. Ruth's here. Joyful Maths with Ruth. Frank says he knows all about pod soil from Minecraft. There you go. You see, there you go. Educating the masses. All right, Gilbert. Twangs is a brilliant scientific word. I know it is, isn't it? Yeah, Gilbert. Thank you for that. Thanks. Because I sort of copied it from Nature Spot, but they'd said springs, and I changed it to twangs. So thanks very much. Yeah, thank you for noticing. All right, A. There was a springtail jumping. What? No. In mine, there wasn't. Do not tell me that I missed a springtail. Well, if it was there, they'll have all sprung away now. You're joking. You're joking. That's not true because springtails don't exist. Say it with me, children. Ed also reckons saw something that looked like a springtail in the salt. Well, now I'm just embarrassed. I'm going to have to watch my own lesson back. Arthur, there's a place near us that used to be a coral reef. I can't remember when. I'll try and find a picture. Wow. All right, Henry. I'm learning about geology at the moment. So this was really good. This is Ned, our dog. He is a sploot. Oh, splooting. This is a real word when a dog stretches along the floor and then has their back legs out behind them. Is it really? Or should we just have a quick look at this dog splooting? Windswept face. Looks like that person did who was in the conifer forest in my photo. Oh, the meaning of the fresh air. Well, thank you for that. Hiya, Ned. So many outfit changes today. Oh yeah, I know. This is my, well, I always dress up for the Lego Story Show, right? And the Lego Story Show is about bog bodies. And I was like, well, I can't come as a dead body from the Iron Age. So I've just dressed as a kind of general person who looks like they work in soil. This gilet was such good value, honestly. Photo credit of the springtail is Andy Murray. So that's what he does now. Yeah, I know. I nearly made a comment about good that Andy Murray's still finding work. Hello, Maya and Thea. This is Maya's apple tree. Will be. She sings to it every day to help it grow. Oh, Maya, do you know, my kids planted an apple seed in lockdown. Oh, look at that! Oh my goodness, that is the fanciest apple tree I've ever seen. There's an apple seed growing in there, is there? Yeah, we planted one during lockdown and it's now 5 years old and it's the only thing in the garden that really means something to me and I'm always looking after it and the kids can't remember planting it and don't care, but for me, it really has meaning. Oh, keep us posted. Keep us posted, Maya, on the apple. I'm very invested in apple trees growing. All right, Bella, my favourite smell and word is petrichor. Yes, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what the name of the smell is after rain, but when I saw that word, I knew it. Yeah, petrichor, smell of the soil after rain. It's because of bacteria, isn't it? No, Edmund's classification chart actually shows how to identify springtail. Amazing, let's have a look. We have to crack out Edmund's classification chart every single show. It's very good, it's very accurate. Here we go. Does it have more than one cell? Yes, it does. If we're talking about the mythical springtail, it's a eukaryote, but does it have a cell wall? No, it doesn't, because it is an animal. Is it an animal, but does it have a spine? Does a eukaryote have a spine? No, it's got an exoskeleton, hasn't it? No. It's an invertebrate, yes, but does it possess an exoskeleton? Yeah, it does. It's an arthropod. To classify it further, does it have 6 legs? No. I can't remember. Does it? Oh, I don't know. Help. I'm lost. Oh my goodness. No, you did not actually write springtail on your classification chart. Edmund, was that there the whole time? Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm going to have to work backwards because I don't know enough about springtails. It has internal mouth parts. Does it really? Some segments... Are body segments added in molting? No, not the springtail, no. Oh, it's a hexapod, is it? Does it have 2 tail parts? No, it doesn't, no. It's an arthropod. Does it have 6 legs? Oh, yes, it does. Springtails have 6 legs. Okay, there you go. Wow. Cool. Thank you. I can't believe that. I'm sure you're just quickly adding to this as we do the lessons. That's impossible. Whoa! Butterfly on Aurelia's hand. Let's have a look. Yesterday, a butterfly landed on her hand and started eating the salts off her skin. Do you want to see? Of course you do. Of course you want to see. Let's have a look. I haven't seen this yet. It might not be appropriate for children. It might be gross. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Oh, it looks like it needs some salt. It's a little battered, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that proboscis. Oh, it's loving it. It's dancing. Oh, really, that is so cool. Thank you. I can't believe that. I can't believe that it was there long enough for you to film it as well. Hello, Imogen and Ophelia. Hello, you two. All right, Jay and Daisy and Daniel. Geography would be great, thank you. You want some theatre of geography, do you? Yeah, we haven't done any geography for a while. Hello, Willow and Darcy and Jackson. Hello. Hello, Nor. Hello, Suki. It's Shuki. I don't know why I do that, Shuki. I don't know. It just flits in and out, doesn't it? Like a radio that isn't quite tuned in. And Musa, and Salah, and Arthur, hello, and Eunice, and Shuki, hello. Gilbert again, springtails are real. Prove it. Prove it. Springtails are real. I don't believe you. Smaller than a 5p coin. Well, I don't know. Oh, Effie says hi. Oh, Effie's doing cross stitch. Nice. Love a bit of cross stitch. Oh, and there's your ice cream. Ooh, artistic. Oh, very nice. Oh, yeah. 3 flakes. I mean, why not? Bye, Nor. Oh, Dexy. Oh, you've got some bugs. Is one of these a springtail? Spoiler, no, it's not. Springtails don't exist. Let's have a look at Dexy's style. And then I really must go. I've only got 24 minutes, and then I've got a... Oh, yeah. Oh, is that a springtail? Or is it a mite? I don't know. It's not a springtail, is it? But it's very much a mite. Might be a springtail. I'm going to say mite. I don't know what that is. But yeah, it's a bug. There's something living in your soul. That is good to see, because mine has been a crashing disappointment. They don't exist. Let's move on. Well done, Nor, that's right. Hello, Tor. Oh, hiya. Hello, you. Sebastian and Humphrey, we could see springtails in your sample. They are real. You could see springtails. That's even more annoying than if they weren't there. You love Mesofauna, but don't think springtails are in that group. Oh, hello, Hannah and Freya. Oh, how's the Charlotte's Web or rehearsals going, by the way? Is it going to plan? Is it going smoothly? How's it going all right? Yeah? Confident? Hannah and Freya, we definitely saw a tiny dot that sprung away when you added the second amount of conifer leaf litter. I mean, that's just annoying. Oh, there's a lot of butterflies out today, or yesterday. All the Science Alliance are enjoying butterflies. Look at this. Hannah, you actually took that photo. That is amazing. Oh, we haven't done about butterflies, have we? There's so much stuff in the woodland that we haven't covered. Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. That is a real stunner. Gorgeous detail there. What do we do? We'll have to do a Lego show about butterflies, won't we? To fit in somehow. Whoa! Is that your photo? That's amazing. Hannah and Freya's picture of an ice cream is... How have you done that? Is that on a computer? That's beautiful. Oh, I'm just going to show you this before we go. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. With all the little... Very nice. Making me hungry. Okay, right. I have to go. Because I have to reset. There's quite a lot of bits, quite a lot of moving parts to the bog body Lego story. Oh, hello, Neve. Can't wait to go back to the Lake District and irritate everyone with my conifer woodland facts. Yay! That's what it's all about. That's what this whole project is about, isn't it? That is literally what my business is about. It's just how do we irritate people more by trying to tell them stuff that they didn't ask us to tell them. That's exactly what I want, Neve, from all of you. Okay, every time I hit the table, I do a sort of Jurassic Park thing and think that there's a springtail, but there's not, because springtails don't exist. Right, I'm going to go. I'm very sorry if you have commented and I haven't read your comment out loud, but I'm going to go. She says, refreshing the page. I have to go because I need to give you time to sign up to get my amazing three past science magazines if you sign up with £6. It is a ridiculous offer. There's very little planning goes into these offers. I just noticed that the weeds were out and thought, oh, I've got some weeds magazines. I should put those in. Okay, I'm just having a look at the most latest comments. Whoa! Look at this! Lauren sending a photo. We took this photo in Hunstanton last summer and we wondered what caused the layers, whether it's like the soil with the iron and quartz. What do you think? Oh no, geology question, guys. Geology question. I don't know. Let's have a look though. Yeah. I have absolutely no idea. So if this is chalk, it almost doesn't look like chalk. If this is chalk, then this has been under the sea, right? So what chalk is the teeny tiny little skeletons of teeny tiny little creatures that lived in the sea a million years ago, and when they die, everything sort of decayed except the skeletons, and their tiny little skeletons just build up and up and up and up and up and up, and that's what chalk is. So if that's true, this would have been like the bottom of the sea, and this looks like maybe sandstone. I'm not a geographer. I love geology, but I learn it and then it just pops out of my head again. So I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. It's just so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but it's a gorgeous picture and it's interesting to think about. There. I don't know why I always feel like I need to say I don't know and then keep talking. I don't know is a full sentence. Here's Ed. What's Ed saying? You saw it too. It was upside down and you could see 6 legs. What? Ugh, I'm going to have to watch this back again. Oh, there's Jessica. I got the quiz right. Yes. I love your lessons. We are going to get some live caterpillars to grow into butterflies. I have done it before and we grew 4. Nice. Hannah and Freya. Yeah, okay. Everyone has seen this thing except me. Oh, fine. Oh, there's Arthur replying to themselves. Can't find the picture you took of the info board, but you can find it on Google. The Stone Centre in Wirksworth used to be a coral reef. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, right. I think that's the end of the comments. Sorry if you've written a comment and I haven't found it, but Facebook is telling me that that's all of the comments. Right, yes, okay, so good. I can go then. I can go and set up my story show. Thank you so much for supporting me on Coffee and getting the things. If you have already signed up, if you support me already and you haven't had the Weeds magazine, then the best I could do, I couldn't really post it to you for free because some people have it and some people don't have it, but I've put it up in my coffee shop for £3. So if you are already supporting and you want a copy of this and you don't have it, that's like the cheapest I could make it. It's basically the price of printing the thing and putting it in an envelope and putting a stamp on. So £3, like including postage. If you do want one, then by all means, please go to my coffee shop, but there's no pressure. It's just for you, really. It's not for me, if you know what I mean. Right, yes, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for all your support. I will see you next week for a Lego story show about bees and another lesson about the woodlands, or I will see a lot of you in 17 minutes for a lesson about bog people. I'll see you then. Bye.